Hi guys, what is up? This is Stephanie, aka the Limitless Babe, reminding you today and every day that you are limitless. So it has been a long time, right? I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in forever. That's probably because I haven't. And yeah. Eh, Let me give you guys a life update. So basically, last full episode with you guys was for the new year when I talked about making intentional choices versus, big resolutions. Um, and then I gave you guys a kind of little sneak tidbit about what was going on in my life a few weeks ago with a new opportunity that I was given. So let me start there. Where have I been? Well, ask and you shall receive. For those of you that do know me, you know that I am very religious, very spiritual. For those of you that don't know me, now you know. Um, Also, I want to reiterate for those that are new viewers, again, I am very religious, very spiritual. I do believe in God, and I may often reference God. I try to be inclusive and mention various types of source or various titles for source. Please know that I never mean any disrespect. I want everyone to feel comfortable, but this is my channel and these are my views. So I'm always going to talk about it in my experience. So with that said, yeah, ask and you shall receive. And it's funny because I do also believe that God, universe, source, they don't give you what you want just because you want it. They give it to you because it's time. They give it to you because you're ready. They give it to you because um, that's part of your path, part of your journey, part of what's going to push you forward. But there's a set time for everything. And I do firmly believe that. And yes, I also believe in free will. And I believe that we have choices that we can make. And that can either speed up the process or decelerate the process. But I do believe that overall, there is a timing to everything and that we have to be ready for things as they come. Think about just in general parenting, right? Like, are you going to give your toddler a Lamborghini and be like, here, like, I trust you? I mean, eventually you're going to get one anyway. Eventually you're going to be able to drive. Here you go. No, you're not going to do that because there's a time and a place. They have to be a certain age to get their driver's license. And then they have to pay. And even once they have their driver's license, I'm not giving a new driver a Lamborghini. First of all, I'm not giving anybody a Lamborghini. But if anybody, has Lamborghini money, good for you. But I'm not giving a new driver an expensive car. You're going to let them learn, let them go through certain things, let them show maturity and development to know, okay, now you're ready for that. So that's what I believe God does with us. That, listen, just because you're of a certain age, even doesn't mean that things are going to come to you. You have to be internally ready for what's coming. Otherwise, it's not going to be a blessing, it's going to be a burden. And I know, again, I guess in case those of you that don't know me, dance is and has always been a huge part of my life. I've been a dancer since I was like, what, 2.5, 3 years old. And it's just been a huge part. I danced my entire life, all through high school, all through college. And even in high school, I started teaching. So I've actually taught dance for 22 years and I've taught Zumba for 11 years. So it's just been a big foundation of who I am. It's a big foundation of my stress release and my joy and my character. And it's a big part of my soul. That's one thing that does make my soul happy no matter what. And so, there were a few years that I didn't get to do it. I stopped teaching dance at a dance studio in 2015. My business had taken off, and there was just a few reasons that I was like, you know what, right now this doesn't fit my life. And I walked away, but I was still teaching Zumba. So I didn't really feel this thing so much. And I was still teaching cardio hip hop and different things at gyms. So I was teaching now adults versus children, which I love teaching children, though. They're so fun. Oh my gosh, so fun. So anyway, there was already that time where a little piece of my soul got notched off, right? And then I kept teaching Zumba, and then we hit this pandemic. And mind you, at this point, I was 7 months pregnant. I was 7 months pregnant and still not only teaching Zumba, I was taking belly dance classes. I was performing as a belly dancer pregnant. And like I was doing all of these things, and then the world shut down. And so for me and my soul, that was devastating because my goal was to keep dancing all through my pregnancy and just never stop. My goal was to never stop. I always wanted my child to see mom living her passion, right? No matter what. And, when the pandemic hit, that really slowed things down. And yes, some could say, well, but you could have started right back up. But remember, gyms shut down. Like my gym that I worked at 3 different gyms at the time. And out of those 3 gyms, 2 of them completely closed. And one of them I was only on hire as a substitute teacher. So it's like I didn't even have a permanent position. And now all of these instructors are out of work. So it was just a really complicated time. And also, I had a newborn and I'm a single mother and we're in a pandemic. So I'm not leaving her with just anybody. It was just a very different dynamic than what I had anticipated going into motherhood. So long story short, there's been a almost 3-year stretch. Yeah, almost exactly a 3-year stretch. Janet, you better not stop barking. Get down. Come on. Hey, come on. My dog is at the window looking at it like, oh, somebody approach. Come here. Say hi. Say hi really quick. Say hi. No? Okay. So there was a 3-year stretch that I also stopped teaching Zumba. Now, in between here and there, on days that I did not have my daughter, I would go take a dance class. And actually last year I did participate and help out for a Zumba fundraiser. And that was kind of my, what's the word I'm looking for? My, my comeback from my retirement, right? It was a little 20-minute burst of a comeback from my retirement. But other than that, like I haven't really been doing it consistently. I haven't been making the time for it, which I have talked about that before in an interview with Real Rhythm Dance and Fitness, where she asked about motherhood and, doing things for you. And I talked about the fact that you're not going to find the time. You have to make the time. But I hadn't been making the time. I mean, I've been making the time here and there for workouts and little things like that. But like my full focus is my daughter. And then beyond that, it's providing a roof over our head. I knew she was going to do it. Man, Janet, get down. Come on. Thank you. I don't care who's outside. No, we're not talking to anybody right now. You know what, guys? Hold on a second because she's not going to stop. Okay, I'm back. I had to tell her to go cool off, go take a nap. So I don't know whose dog is outside. Anyway, so yeah, I was not making time big enough for my soul. And I have a funny story that I want to kind of share with you guys. And I know I'm going to butcher it, right? But I love listening to Joel Osteen, and he always tells his little joke before he starts his sermon. And one time he told a joke, which I'm not even going to try to tell it in a funny way, because like I said, I know I'm going to butcher it. But the moral of the story is that there's this man and there's a hurricane or a flood happening. It's a flood happening outside. Well, I guess both. And little by little, the water is creeping up. But this man has a strong faith. And he keeps saying to himself, no, I know my Lord will protect me. My God will take care of me. I trust him. And here comes a knock on the door. And it's a fireman. Hi, sir. We're trying to evacuate all the people for the flood. We want to bring you to safety. Thank you, kind sir. But no, I don't need your help because I have faith and my God will take care of me. He will protect me. The fireman leaves. 2 hours later, the water is up to the middle of the door and he hears a horn beeping and he looks out the window and it's a policeman on a boat saying, sir, please, we are evacuating everyone. We need to make sure that everyone gets to safety. And he says, no, thank you, officer, but I have faith. My God is going to protect me. And so the officer leaves. Now the water is up to the roof of his house. And here comes the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard said, "Sir, please, we have to take you to safety. This is the last time that we're going to make our rounds. We need to take you now." "Thank you, Coast Guard, but I have faith. My God is going to protect me." Well, fast forward, lo and behold, the man drowns and dies. And he's in heaven. And he goes up to God. Oh, God comes up to him and he says, "Welcome, my child." And he looks at him and says, "God, what gives? I had faith. I thought you were going to protect me." And God looks at him and says, "Bro, I sent you a fireman, a police officer, the Coast Guard. What more do you want me to do if you don't take the signs?" And so the moral of the story, as you can see, is that sometimes we have this faith and we think, God, universe, it's going to provide. And it's true, it will. But then we completely ignore the signs and the callings and everything that is being spoken to our soul and our spirit. And then we miss the opportunity. And then we're mad about it. Like, no, it's not that God didn't answer your prayers. You weren't listening. You weren't paying attention. You weren't looking with your eyes open. So I kind of feel like that was happening to me for a little while, where like opportunities were coming and people were asking like, "Oh, like we miss dancing with you." So many of my oldest students would reach out like, "When are you going to start teaching?" And I did try once to do it, but then kind of like all hell broke loose in my personal life and things were going on and I didn't get to do it. So something stopped me, but I shouldn't have let it. And there's so many, but you know what? I'm not going to say should have, would have, could have, because everything happened perfectly. And look where I am right now. Well, you don't know yet, but I'm gonna tell you. So yeah, there's been a lot of times where people have tried to reach out to me to get me back into teaching because they miss it. And I just wasn't ready. So fast forward to last October, November, one of those, it was either late October, early November. I get a Facebook message from one of my old professors at college. And he's the head of the dance program. And I danced all through my time in college. And I was even president of our dance program. And I did even go back a few years later to choreograph and perform in some anniversary pieces that they had in their performances. And it's just always been home for me, right? Like I adore that dance space. I adore that college. I adore that professor. Like just that's home for me. And so he reaches out to me, and mind you, he's reached out to me in the past before to teach, but it was never a fitting opportunity. Like it didn't work out for whatever reason, whether it was scheduling or location or whatever it was, it didn't work out. So he's always kept me in the back of his mind, which I appreciate. And like, oh my gosh, like I love you. You know who you are. Thank you so much for always looking out for me and always seeing the best in me and my potential and my gifts. Thank you. So, anyway, he reaches out to me and he's like, "Hey, are you interested in teaching Zumba at the college?" And I said, "Yeah. Give me more information. Say more. Say more. Tell me more. Tell me what's going on." So he gives me all the details, and it actually works out that it's perfect. It fits in with my schedule beautifully. The pay is not bad, and I'm very excited about this. So anyway, this was all kind of in the talks, but a little piece of me was always skeptical, like, then is this really going to happen? Because like nothing has been sent to you from the actual college yet. So like maybe this was just like a hopeful thing, but it didn't work out. So he has me do the application, everything like that. And I still didn't hear anything for a little while. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I sent him a follow-up. "Hey, what's going on? Just want to make sure that everything's definitely solidified so that I can start like working on things." And it wasn't until the week before classes started this semester that I got my offer letter, that everything kind of like cleared out, that it was all settled. But then it was like, okay, oh my gosh, I have 1 week, realistically 1 day, because once my daughter's home, like I'm focusing on her, focusing on work, focusing on other things. Like I don't have time to do all this other stuff. I had one day to do all of the online onboarding, and they kept sending me, I would finish one thing and they would be like, okay, now you have to do this. Now you have to do this. Now you have to do this. And I had like 48 hours to do this like ridiculously long onboarding training program, which I say ridiculous long. It wasn't that bad, but it was just, I had to do it back to back. I couldn't take breaks. I had to just get it done because I had no time. So so where have I been? Like that was the longest way of telling you where I've been. I have been a professor at my old university and loving it. So um it's been wonderful. And I'm sure you guys can tell because I don't know if you see it, I see it. My face even looks different. Like I'm just glowing from the inside out. I feel it, I see it. I didn't realize how much joy having work outside of the home as a single mother would bring me. And like I say that because well, actually not even to say it like that, because here's the thing. Once I had my daughter, that was the first time in my life that I didn't have any outside work. My job was always in home. I have my lash business that you guys may or may not know about, but my office is based inside my home. So I was always working inside my home on a one-on-one basis with clients. And so I'm not really interacting. I'm not going out. I'm not feeling that there's a different level of like productivity and importance and just purpose that you feel when you go outside to work. And that's why like they have those rules for when you work from home. And that's why the pandemic was really hard for a lot of people because they weren't used to it. And when you work from home, you have to have these like set guidelines for yourself to not basically lose your mind, to not let your home and your work life meld together. Like you have to keep them separate. So like I joke around, and I remember that when I was with a former partner, he would laugh because like I would say, like, if somebody texted me and say I was like sitting on the couch watching a movie with him, somebody would text me about an appointment and I would write back, "Hi, I'm not in the office right now." And he would laugh. He's like, "But like the office is right there." I said, "Yes, but am I in it? I'm not in the office right now." I had very good boundaries at that point about separating home and work. So let me get back on track. Um, so yeah, I've since 2015 had my home office, which like I said, that's when I stopped doing the dance school. And even though I did have that, I had good guidelines, I had good boundaries for it, but I also had some form of outside employment always, whether it was Zumba or whatever other part-time thing I was doing, I always had something else going on. And when the pandemic hit and then I had my daughter, I only had the at home. So I'm home working, I'm home with the baby. And now it's harder as a single mother. It's harder to like, I can't do what I did with that ex partner. I can't say, oh, I'm not in the office, I'll get back to you, because now I don't have a set schedule. Now it's not like, well, my hours are Monday through Thursday, 7 to 7. No, now it's my hours are whenever this kid is sleeping. And if she wakes up, I kind of have to just make it work and like figure out how to get both taken care of at the same time, you know? So like I take clients before she wakes up, I take clients when she's napping, I take clients when she goes to bed or when she's eating breakfast or whatever the case is. But now home and work have melded and it's really challenging, but at the same time I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I say all that to say that once I got that new hire offer letter, and even though I was going nuts with all of the computer work that I had to do, it felt so good for my soul. And mind you, at this point, I hadn't even started dancing yet. But it was just that feeling of purpose. It was that feeling of importance. It was that feeling of like something that I can't even explain. But I was no longer just a stay-at-home mom, and not that that's something to be just. Like I have been mom, dad, provider, nurturer, everything. I have been the rock and the foundation that keeps our home going. And I'm proud of that. And I love that. But at the same time, a little piece of my soul was missing. a little piece of my purpose and my passion was missing. And I didn't even know. So, um, yeah, I feel like this was the time. Like God knew, okay, now you're ready. Now, and also now it's easier. Now it works with my schedule. And my daughter is at this beautiful, amazing age where I can work on routines while she's here. Like she'll do it with me. And it's so fun. Like, oh my gosh, I got to tell you guys, like she cracks me up because like her favorite song in the world is Daddy Yankee Dura. Like she loves it. It's because of working on my Zumba routines. And the other day I played another song for her. I don't know if you know it. It was from, I think it was from the World Cup. Shakira modified one of her songs, Dare, for was it? Yeah, she modified it for the World Cup. So there's two different versions of it. But anyway, I was playing the one version that I use for my class in the car. And all of a sudden I hear in the background, the music's going do, 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 and then I hear my daughter go in a deep, deep voice, Lego. And she kept repeating it. She loved it. And she was like, more, more. I'm like, okay, great. So it's just, I feel like God knew that now you have the time. Now you have the energy. Now you have the support of your daughter, like seeing like mommy's so joyful doing this and I want to do it with her and it's fun. Oh my gosh. So I'm grateful to God, universe, source, for all of my blessings, for the timing. I'm grateful for my faith that let me know like now is the time to jump. And from the first day that I hit that dance floor, from the second that I walked back on campus, I just felt like this surge of life in me and joy in me. And it just felt really, really, it felt right. It felt right. And the fact that I get to call myself professor is pretty freaking awesome. I'm just saying. And yes, I make my students call me professor. I earned that, okay? I earned that. So that's like the big update. Now, and that's why I haven't been here because I've been so kind of consumed with that. But not only that, like I said, that gave me purpose and inspiration and motivation and productivity. And then that like sparked all of these other things in my brain. So there's been so many amazing good things going on. I also decided that I'm going to finally, which I've been talking about this for 3 years, I'm going to renovate my office. And so I did. And now I've made it this, it's not fully done because I'm still waiting on certain things to come in and I'm trying to get certain things out. But I painted and I made it this really calming tropicalish vibe, which just feels good for my soul. Excuse me, feels really good for my soul as well. And beyond that, I decided that I made half of it my office. Like this is my office. But then I made a little half nook of a playroom for my daughter. And I'm already seeing the benefits of that. I'm already seeing the blessing. And yes, like I just mentioned, it's important to separate work and home when you work from home. But when you have a toddler, you cannot do that. And honestly, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good even trying to do that. So I've already had a handful of clients that like my daughter's right in the room with us, playing with her toys, watching her favorite show, but she's right there. She knows mommy's right there. And it feels good. It also lets me work a little bit more, or at least a little bit more flexible with her hours. So it's been just a huge, huge, huge blessing. So I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, just all the inspiration that has just been surging me, other things that I've been kind of consuming myself, but since now I'm just giving you a whole life update. Last we spoke formally in our January video, we talked about making intentional shifts versus grand resolutions for the new year. And I'm happy to report that I actually am consistently doing it. I don't have my notebook and I'm not going to get up to get it. You know what? Yeah, I will. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, as you may or may not know, if you did or did not watch the last main video, the last full video, like I said, mentioned making intentional choices versus big resolutions. And my intentional choices have been for months, Like, this has been months that I've been saying I'm going to do this, and looking. I was going to say listen and looking. Listen, even the best of us that have the knowledge of what we need to do and that share the knowledge of what we need to do, sometimes we fall off track and sometimes we need to get ourselves back. But the beauty is in how quickly you can say, I need to do something about this, and actually take that action step. And so, as you guys may or may not know, also from my DV video, before I was in the most recent toxic relationship, I had the best morning routine. And I just checked all the boxes on the things that I needed to do for myself, right? Like, I would start my day in such a way. I would meditate, I would work out, I would go to the gym by 6 a.m. already and like do what I need to do. And then come home and meditate and make my matcha and write my goals for the day. Like, I had good routines. I would walk the dog, like really good, healthy routines for myself. And I was always in this state of calm. But then, like I said, that relationship was very volatile, very toxic, very emotionally draining. And little by little, those things started to dwindle. That person demanded a lot of my time. And that was shame on me for not standing up for my boundaries and standing up for my things. Like, I would tell them, look, like, you know what, today I just want to take some time for me and recharge. And they would say, oh yeah, sure, no problem. No problem. But then they would show up at my door anyway, uninvited, with the excuse of, oh, I was in the area and I brought you this cookie, or I brought you this, or I brought you flowers. And at the time I allowed it, and shame on me for allowing it, right? Because now I'm able to sit back and view it as that was not romantic. I think that society and Western culture teach us that, oh, it's romantic. Like, if they show up uninvited, it's romantic. If they do this, like, we romanticize a lot of toxic behavior. But the reality is, if I really think about it, it was dishonoring my boundaries. It was disrespectful because I asked for something and I couldn't even be honored. And it was something simple, something free. Give me my space. I just want space for a night, just for one night. And not only was it those two things, the biggest one, and this is where I should have been like, DV alert, DV alert. It's controlling. It was a controlling power move. It was mistrust. I realize now that it wasn't romantic. It was them trying to make sure that I was alone, trying to exert their dominance and say, you don't get to tell me that I can't spend time with you. I decide. There was a lot of underlying things that were involved in that. And now I see how unhealthy that was. And in retrospect, I'm also able to see why my routines fell apart. Even my look, like, it's funny because a lot of people will talk about this, especially with like personality disorder abuse, like someone who goes through abuse with someone who has a potential personality disorder. You'll start to see like you don't even look the same. You age so much faster. Your skin doesn't look as glowy. Your hair, you may start losing your hair. All you guys know, I've talked about this, like all of that was happening. I was losing weight and not in a good way. It was crazy. I was very unhealthy because my soul was being depleted. And another thing that I want you guys to think about, and this is just total side topic, right? Like, but I've mentioned this, like picking your relationships wisely, picking your partners wisely, because not only do we take on their karma, our souls get affected and infected by wrong partnerships. And our lives can change drastically as a result. And it's funny because before I met this person, my morning routine was booming. My body was in the best shape of its life, like like shape, like as far as like muscle and all of that. Like, I was just good. My hair was incredible. It was the best it's ever looked. It was thick, it was shiny, it was great. It was long. Like, I didn't have to do anything to my hair. If I tied it up in a bun and took it down, it was glorious. Like, I had never experienced that in my life. So stress definitely affects my hair, but I was just not stressed out at that point. I was very free as a bird, happy. And my business was really the main thing. Like my money was good. When I met him, my money was really good. You know what I mean? Like little by little, my business was getting better. I was manifesting money from different avenues and things and opportunities, and it was just really good. And what I noticed is that by the time that that relationship dissolved, I had lost so many clients. I didn't look the same. My energy wasn't the same. I wasn't in the same happy-go-lucky state of gratitude. I had been beaten down emotionally, energetically, psychologically, physically at points. And it was totally different. So, like, I just want to remind you guys. I know this is not a TV video, but I want to remind you to really evaluate your relationships. And even if, because the crazy thing is at the time I would have said, "Oh, but I'm getting better. Look at all my inner work growth." Because yeah, I was going crazy trying to look up like ways to better myself because in my mind this person had ingrained in me, it's you, which yes, parts of it were me, but it wasn't the me in the sense that he meant. He meant it's you because you're bad, you're wrong, you're not doing what I want you to do. You're not falling in line. You're not succumbing to my every desire. You're not falling for my bullshit. Pardon my language. And that wasn't what was wrong with me. What was wrong with me is that I was codependent and I didn't know it. What was wrong with me is that I was seeking external validation. What was wrong with me is that I was very much a nice girl and a people pleaser. What was wrong with me is that I had terrible boundaries. What was wrong with me is that I wasn't honoring myself. So yeah, there was stuff wrong with me that needed to grow, but it wasn't what he was slamming in my head that I needed to fix, you know? And so like even if you think, well, oh, but look how much I'm getting better and like look, I thought in my brain too, I thought, but I'm losing weight. This is great. But then when I really looked at myself, I was like, but this isn't good. Like this isn't a healthy way. Like I'm not toned. I'm like drained. Like I just look like my soul has been like sucked out of me. And it wasn't great. As I've mentioned, and I'm going to keep referencing videos. I just got to keep plugging different videos here, huh? So the first video that I ever posted on my channel, I talked about my gratitude practice that I used to have at that time when I was the healthiest, the time just before this relationship. And yeah, like I just had such a good, like when you practice gratitude, you feel different from the inside out. And because of all the external chaos that was going on, creating internal chaos, I wasn't able to focus on my gratitude. I wasn't able to genuinely, even though I was still trying to do it, like I would still write my letter to God every morning, but like it was fogged. It was fogged with all this crap. Like I was so focused on all of this, I wasn't paying attention to the small, little, beautiful parts of every day. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like I don't know who's watching and who needs to hear this, but like the wrong partnership will mess you up. Okay? The wrong partnership will mess your money up. It will mess your skin up. It will mess your hair up. It will mess your life up. So be mindful, okay? And the crazier thing is that, like how I talked in the beginning about like when I got this job and my soul just knew it and it felt right. You know what? My soul knew this relationship was wrong maybe like 2 months in. 2 months in, my soul knew this ain't it. But my ego kept me there. My ego told me, no, like, you got to make this work. You got to figure this out. Like, this is a good thing. Like, you just don't know. You're self sabotaging. You're doing all of these things, which sometimes we do self sabotage, right? But how screwed up is it that I was talking myself out of self sabotaging a really toxic dynamic that my soul recognized was not okay? So, oh, guys, like when your soul knows, it knows, especially for women, we have the gift of intense intuition. And if you're questioning things, like that, like, I don't know. Is this a red flag? Isn't this a red flag? It's probably a red flag. And I highly recommend for everyone. I don't remember who wrote the book. I think it's like Melanie's. Is it Melanie something? I don't know. But anyway, it's called Codependent No More. Parts of it really resonated with me. Parts of it didn't. But I just recommend in general researching what codependency is. If you feel like you're always being walked all over, if you feel kind of lost, if you feel like, I don't know, look into it. Maybe it's you, maybe it's not, but I feel like most people are walking around in a codependent state. Most people are walking around trying to please people. Most people are walking around trying to get validation from someone. So of course, when someone comes and love bombs you with intense validation, with intense verbal approval, you think, you see me. Finally, somebody sees me. But the reality is that if it's not consistent, if it's not really nurturing your soul and helping you grow, if it comes in spurts, like for me, it's funny, I had it timed. I was like, oh, we're in this 2-week cycle. Every 2 weeks, love bomb, and then discard, and then love bomb and discard. And that was meant to condition me to fall in line. That's like Chinese torture. It was intended to condition, whether it was conscious or subconscious on this person's part, not my problem to figure out. All I know is that it was a form of torture to get me to behave a certain way. I just wanted to share that tidbit with you guys. So, follow your soul. Follow your soul in your career, in your passions, in your relationships, in everything. So now back to what I was talking about and why I went to get my notebook. What have I been working on for the year of 2023? Very small, blah, 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 blah. I can't speak today. Very small, but simple things that are bringing my soul back to life and returning my beautiful, healthy glow. So obviously I've talked about it already, and that's like number one, gratitude. I had stopped practicing my gratitude. Well, no more. So these are just February's gratitude. So I took a planner, traditional regular old planner, and they have like spaces to put notes for each day. And in those note spaces, I did my gratitudes. But now I don't just write them here. So what I do, and this is a big difference that I noticed for what makes a successful gratitude practice, you cannot, and I've talked about this in that first video, you cannot wait until the end of the day and just try to think back of what happened that was good. It's not going to work. You're going to forget the small, amazing things. And it's the small, amazing things that remind you that magic is happening around you and that give you that shift. You have to either keep a notebook with you or your phone. Okay. And on your phone, you put a notes and you just create a notes that is my gratitude practice. And every single time something happens, big or small, even if it's something as silly as getting the first parking spot at the supermarket, write it down. And what I also do, and I highly recommend, when those things happen, don't just write it down. Before you write it down, I say thank you. Okay, so I say thank you to God. That's my faith. You can say thank you to whoever or whatever you believe in, or just say a simple thank you. You don't have to title it to anybody, but I do say thank you, Lord, for your favor. That's my thing. For every little thing, every time something amazing happens, whether it's something amazing that's big or something amazing that's small, it doesn't matter. And I do have to say that that has made a big shift for me. Another part, so then on the calendar part, so this is February, my goal has been to make time for a good workout for at least 10 minutes a day. Now, to some of you, that may seem like, oh, that's so silly, like 10 minutes. What are you really getting done in 10 minutes? Well, when you haven't done anything for 3 years or barely anything or spurts of things for 3 years, 10 minutes a day is damn good. Okay? Damn good. And you know what? 10 minutes builds a bigger habit. 10 minutes today turns into 20 minutes tomorrow, turns into 30 minutes, or it stays at 10 and 20 minutes. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for my life. All I know is that I'm going to stick with whatever works best for my body and feels best for my soul. And nobody else has an opinion about that. Or nobody else gets to have an opinion. You can have an opinion, but I don't have to care about it. So, and that's the same for you. Anyone else can have an opinion about what you should be doing, but only your soul knows. So that's two things that I've been doing. The third thing that I've been doing is meditating. So my goal had been to just meditate for 2 minutes a day. But what I'm noticing is that I'm actually doing 5 minutes every day, which is already an improvement, right? So look, my goal was low and I'm already exceeding it. But now am I going to beat myself up if tomorrow I do 2 minutes? No, because it's still a win. And maybe in March, my goals will change. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But my objective right now is just to remain consistent. And in the meantime, I'm happy. In the meantime, I feel fulfilled. I feel like a weight is being lifted finally off of my shoulders. And like the real me is showing through. I feel like I kind of had who I was supposed to be thrown at me or thrown on top of me by toxic situations and people and society and whatnot. And now, like, I get to be me how I want to be me and the best version of me in my eyes. And that's going to make me the best mom for my daughter. And that's going to make my daughter the best version of herself because she's not only going to be taught these lessons, she's going to experience them. She's going to see them and witness it and see like, oh, well, this is how mom lives her life. And she's really happy. And I want to be happy. Sorry, guys, I have like a cold thing happening. I don't know. I'm still happy though, even with my cold. Okay. So, yeah, but maybe I have a cold because it was like 10 degrees last week and then yesterday was 60. Maybe that's why. So anyway, those are the main things that I've been doing. Another thing that I will add on my list of things that I have been doing to take care of myself is another practice that I used to have. I have this book called Jesus Calling. And again, like if you're not religious, you don't have to do what I do. You do what works for you. But maybe there's a book that works for you. My point is to do something spiritual. Okay, so this is all like physical and mental, right? Gratitude. Gratitude is spiritual. Exercise is physical. Meditation is mental. And then we're going to take care of our spiritual one extra time by getting closer to whatever our source is. So that's why I choose that book and I read a little passage from it every day. And it just reminds me of my why. It reminds me of the glue that keeps my life going. I do believe that God is my backbone. And I recommend highly, highly having a faith in something bigger than you. Okay. And again, I'm not here to convert everybody. I'm not here to force you to believe what I believe. No, you get to believe what you believe. Okay. And I honor that and I respect that because who am I to say? Okay. But I want to encourage you to find something that you believe in. God is a great one. Universe is a great one. Source is a great one. Buddha, Allah. I don't know all of the religions. And maybe you don't feel the same way that I do. I encourage you to believe in whatever you want because in my heart of hearts, I firmly believe that it's all the same thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you call it. It's all the same thing. It's just maybe your understanding of it is different than mine. But I think when you have faith in something, it's the same thing. It's the same being. They just have a different name. Think that that's something that as much as we may all be different, that can really unite us when we think of it that way. Like, I don't care what you call your source. I just care that you love your source and that your objective is to be a kind human being. Like that's the important thing. That's the important thing, is that you do believe that it's important to be kind, that there are repercussions in life for not being kind, that karma exists, that um, our souls are much bigger than our flesh bodies. So anyway, enough about that stuff right now, because I know that that's not for everyone, but I hope that that spoke to someone. I really do. And in the meantime, I was going to give you guys another little topic as well, but I feel like this video has already gone on long enough. So we're going to save that other topic for another day. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for spending your time with me. And I hope that you have the most amazing, limitless, abundantly blessed, and joyful day. I hope that you start practicing some gratitudes. And if you do, and you feel the difference and you see the shift, share it with me. Write it in the comments of one of the videos. Send me an email at thelimitlessbabe@gmail.com. DM me at thelimitlessbabe on Instagram. Um, and let's talk. Let's talk gratitude. Let's talk about what really makes the world a better place. And that's being thankful for what you have and who you are. I love you guys so much. Stay limitless. Bye.